Shri Guru Nitai Gaur, Premanande Hari Bol. Can I ask everybody a big favor first? I'm just a guest. I don't know everybody here. It's really kind of nervous thing. Can everybody all at once come and sit on my lap? I took a bath last week. Please come close. Come all the way up, please. Come close, please. I get really nervous when people are sitting all the way in the back, especially they have a basket of tomatoes or something next to them. Please come close. Shri Guru Nitai Gaur, Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Girivardhari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radhe, Jaya Radha Murlidhara, Radhe, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Nitai Gora Haribo, 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 Gora Haribo. Shri Guru Nitai Go Premanande, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Shri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki, Shri Prem Data Nityananda Prabhu Ki, Shri Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki, Bolo Giriraj Maharaj Ki, Shri Radhakun Shamakun Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki, Shri Purushottam Keta Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Shri Radha Murli Daju Ke, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo, Samaveda Bhakta Binda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Before we try to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, I have an instruction. My Guru Maharaj, he told me that I should offer prayers to the Bhagavatam. The Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that Krishna Tulya Bhagavata Vibhu Sarvashray Patishloki Pratyakshi Nanatakoi. That just as Krishna is Vibhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so also is Srimad Bhagavatam. And just as we offer prayers to Krishna, we also offer prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. So he instructed me that before I speak on Bhagavatam, I should recite a certain set of prayers that he used to recite every day. So please bear with me. This takes about 5 minutes. If you know these verses or some of these verses, please recite with me. Narayanam namaskrityam naramschaiva narotamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudurayat Vede Ramayanes Chaiva Purane Padate Tata Adavante Chamadye Chahari Sarvatra Giyate Mukam Karodi Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam. This is a traditional song that they sing in Orissa. In Orissa, in the villages, they have small buildings they used to call Bhagavat Tungis. And it's a place where all the villagers would come together every day in the evening to do kirtan and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So traditionally, they would sing this song before they would speak on Bhagavatam. Paramananda he Madhava Padunga Luchi Makaranda Se Makaranda Panakori Anande Bolo Hari Hari Harinka Name Vandavela Parikori Be Chakadola Se Chakadolanka Paraye Manamo Rahu Nirantare Manamo Nirantare Rahu Ha Krishna Boli Jiva Jao Ha Krishna Boli Jao Jiva Moteu Dada Rada Dava Moteu Dada Rada Dava Moteu Dada Rada Dava Dharma Projita Kaitavo Tapadamo Nirmatsharam Satam Vedyam Vastava Mattavastu Shivadam Tapachayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamune Krite Kimva Parayishvara Sadyo Hidyavarudhyate Chakritibi Shushu Shubhistakshana Nigamukopataro galitam palam Shukamukadamitra samyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam Muhoroho rasika bhuvi bhavuka Anarto pasamam sakshad bhakti yogam maroksaje Lokasya janito vidvam shakre satvata samnitam Yeshambhai Shugamanayam Krishna Parama Purushe Bhaktirupadyate Pumsa Shokamoha Bhayapaha Srimad Bhagavatam Puranamamalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsamekam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Sahitam Naiskamyam Aviskritam Tachinvan Supaten Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchan Naraha Arto Yam Brahma Sutranam Bharatarta Vinirnaya Gayatri Vashirupo So Vedarta Paribrimita Sarva Vediti Hasanam Sadam Sadam Samudritam Sarva Vedanta Sadam Hi Srimad Bhagavatam Ishyate Tadrasamrita Triptasya Nanyatra Swadvachi Kuchit Krishna Bhakti Rasa Swarup Shri Bhagavata Tate Veda Shastra Hoite Parama Mahatva Chari Veda Upanishade Jata Kichu Hoya Tara Arta Lana Vyasa Korila Sanchaya Jai Sutre Jeru Vishaya Bachana Bhagavate Seru Sloka Nibandana Jiveranistara Lagi Sutra Koilo Vyasa Mayavadi Bhashishunile Hoya Sarvanasha Jao Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavira Stane Ekanta Shayakora Chaitanya Charane Bhagavata Jainamane Sejavana Samaham Tada Sasta Ache Janme Janme Prabhu Jama Bolo Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Reading from Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, the king of all literatures. I was told it was Canto 9, Chapter 6, excuse me, Canto 6, Chapter 9, text number 52. Please repeat. So if you have some digital device, you can look it up. Or here's a book. 6-9-52. Sava adigato dhadyam. Sava adigato dhadyam. Asvibhyam brahmanishkalam. Asvibhyam brahmanishkalam. Yadva asvashiro nama. Yadva Ashva Shiro Nama Tayor Amaratam Vidyat Tayor Amaratam Vidyat. Anyone else? Sava arigato dadyan. Anyone else? Just lost it. I'm coming back to it. 50, text 52, right? Saha, he, va, certainly, adhigataha, having obtained, dadyan, dadyancha, avishbayam, to the two Ashvini Kumaras, Brahma, spiritual knowledge, Nishkalam, pure, Yatva, by which, Ashvashira, Nama, named, Tayo, of the two, Amaratam, liberation in one's life, Vyadat, awarded. Translation, that saintly Dadyancha was also known as Dadichi, personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Ashvini Kumaras. It is said that Dadyancha gave them mantras through the head of a horse. Therefore, the mantras are called Ashvasira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science from Dadichi, the Ashvini Kumaras became Jivan Mukta, liberated even in this life. Please repeat. That saintly Dadyancha, who's also known as Dadichi, personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Ashvini Kumaras. It is said that Dadyancha gave them mantras to the head of a horse. Therefore, the mantras are called Ashvasira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science from Dadichi, the Ashvini Kumaras became Jivan Mukta, liberated even in this life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The following story is narrated by many acharyas in their commentaries, and there is a long paragraph of Sanskrit, which there's no translation for. Highly recommended to read that if you understand. I'm going to jump ahead. The great saint Dadichi had perfect knowledge of how to perform fruitive activities, and he had advanced spiritual knowledge as well. Knowing this, The Ashvini Kumaras once approached him and begged him to instruct them in spiritual science, Brahma Vidya. Dadichi Muni replied, I am now engaged in arranging sacrifices for fruitive activities. Come back sometime later. When the Ashvini Kumaras left, Indra, the king of heaven, approached Dadichi and said, My dear Muni, the Ashvini Kumaras are only physicians. Please do not instruct them in spiritual science. It's a very interesting point. That the Ashvini Kumaras are demigods and they're Brahmins, but they're considered to be a little lower class Brahmin. Why? Because they're just doctors. In other words, someone who's a high class Brahmin is someone who teaches spiritual knowledge. Mm-hmm. And he says, please don't instruct them in spiritual science. If you impart the spiritual science to them, despite my warning, I shall punish you by cutting off your head. All right. After warning Dadichi in this way, Indra returned to heaven. The Ashvini Kumaras, who understood Indra's desires, returned and begged Dadichi for Brahma Vidya. When the great saint Dadichi informed them of Indra's threat, by the way, guys, you know what he told me? The Ashvini Kumaras replied, let us first cut off your head and replace it with the head of a horse. You can instruct Brahma Vidya through the horse's head, and when Indra returns and cuts off that head, we shall reward you and restore your original head. Since Dadichi had promised to impart Brahma Vidya to the Ashvini Kumaras, he agreed to their proposal. Therefore, because Dadichi imparted Brahma Vidya through the mouth of a horse, this Brahma Vidya is also known as Ashvashira. Gora Graganya Gana Gotra Guloruharam Goranga Gudatama Gopyara Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami. Dadichi is a very, very special person. His story is told in many places. He's mentioned in many different places in the Bhagavatam and different Vedic literatures. And one of the qualities, the special qualities of the Srimad Bhagavatam is that it contains a story of Vitrasura and Dadichi. What is so special about Dadichi? We could say he had a hard life. He was a very, very magnanimous person. We hear in this story that although Indra threatened him to cut off his head, he agreed still to give Brahma Vidya, spiritual knowledge, in spite of that threat. He agreed to give that spiritual knowledge to the Ashvini Kumaras, who were mere physicians, mere doctors. And they cut off his head first, that was part of the deal, and gave him the horse's head. And then when Indra became angry and came and cut that head off, then they replaced his original head. In the Uttara Kanda of the Padma Purana, there's also some story about Dadichi, which we'll hear later on, also in this section of the Bhagavatam. But the Padma Purana gives a little background behind it. And this is a description which is given by Lord Mahadev, Lord Shiva, to his wife Parvati. And he told her that previously, a long time ago, when the demons and demigods were fighting, some people just have nothing better to do. They just have to fight. That's what they like to do. So the demigods and demons were fighting about all kinds of important things, like who's going to be in charge of the universe. So at that time, the Devas were defeated by the demons, and they came to Dadichi Muni's hermitage, and they dropped their weapons and they ran away. So then Dadichi Muni, when he heard all the demons coming, he thought maybe it's not a good idea to leave all these weapons laying around. And so the Padma Purana describes that he submerged those weapons in the ocean, and then a little later he drank the ocean. He's quite an amazing personality. along with those weapons. Perhaps those weapons were in a more subtle form. And then later on, the demigods, they came back to see him again, and they said, look, we have this problem. We have to fight with the demons because we're demigods, and that's what we do. We have to curb these guys, rascals. So all of us are very afraid. Please give us our weapons back. And Didichi then told him, well, what can I do? I swallowed them. I put them in the water. Apparently they're subtle, in subtle form. And I swallowed all of them. So they said, isn't there something that you can do? So then Didichi said, well, there's something I can do for you. He said, and then he told his wife, maybe you could do something else. I want you to go and get something from the market or something. And he sent her away. And then the demigods requested, please, we know that all this Shakti from our weapons is now residing in your bones. So please give us your bones. Didichi knew they were going to ask that question, so he suggested that his wife go somewhere else. And he agreed to the proposal. And according to the Padma Purana, Indra, he called for the Sarabi cow and told her to do something a little shocking, that you should lick off all the flesh of the body, the dead body of Didichi Muni, who went into Samadhi and left his body, and to give his body to the demigods in charity, who were asking him for this thing because they had to fight, we'll hear later, with Britrasura. So the Sarabi cow licked his body and took all of his flesh off, and the bones were left. And they took those bones and they made them back in their weapons. And it's just said that the backbone became the Brahmastra weapon, and other bones became the Shakti weapon, the thunderbolt of Indra. When Didichi's wife came back, she didn't appreciate the situation very much. And she became really angry with the demigods. And she cursed them, that you won't be able to have any children. She was a very, very disturbed lady then. She was pregnant. And she sat down under Ashvata tree, and she cut open her womb. Amazing personalities. And her child came out, and that child is a partial manifestation of Lord Shiva, is known as Pipalada Rishi. And then she left her body and went to be with her husband. Amazing personalities. So from this pastime of Didichi Muni that we're hearing about in the Bhagavatam today, and this other story that we just recited also, we can understand something about the nature of a great personality. And the nature of a great personality is completely opposite of materialistic persons who simply are absorbed in their own selfishness. How am I going to get everything for myself? Whereas the great personalities, they think about the pleasure and benefit of everyone else, and they're willing to give up their own body. Didichi was willing to have his head cut off so that he could give spiritual knowledge to the Ashvini Kumars, even though they were only physicians. And he was willing to give his bones, give his whole body to the demigods for a good cause, so they could fight with Vitrasura. In the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam is a very wonderful verse in the chapter where Krishna steals the clothes of the gopis. Later in that chapter, it begins the section about the Yagnapatni Leela. And it's described that one morning, Krishna and the cowherd boys, they went for a walk. And that particular morning, they went in a different area where they didn't usually go. And some of our acharyas have commented because the particular area they went, there was no fruit trees. And somehow, by the potency of Yoga Maya, a very astonishing thing happened, a very, very astonishing thing happened in Braj. The boys didn't have any breakfast that morning. That's not the nature of Braj. Those ladies like to feed their boys so much. But as they were walking, and Krishna began to glorify the trees. And he spoke a very wonderful verse, which is quoted quite often by our acharyas, Etava Jamasafalyam Dehinam Ihadehi Su Pranay Artai Diya Vachashreya Archaranam Sada. That it's a duty of every living being, Etava Jamasafalyam. if they want to have perfection of their birth, then dehinam, iha dehi shu, they should give pranayar artayar, diya vacha, they should give their prana, their life. And Sanatana Goswami comments on this verse, if you can't give your prana, if you can't give your life, like the Dichi Muni is doing, then you should give the next most dear thing to everybody in this world. What is that? Wealth. I heard once that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, I don't know if this is true or not, but it makes sense. The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta once said there's two absolute truths. Although the Bhagavatam says the absolute truth is Advaita Tattva, it's one, he said there's actually two. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and cash on hand. In any case, it works like that. So if you can't give your life, then you should give your wealth. And if you can't give your wealth, then diya, you should give your intelligence. And if you can't even give your intelligence, then at least vacha, you should support that. You should say some nice things. You should give some words of support to other people. And Prithu Maharaj, I don't know if I could find this verse, nice verse. He describes in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam that there are 4 different people, is it 4 or 3, who share equally in the result of something, and that is the person who orders it, the person who performs it, and the person who supports it, verbally or whatever way. Each person, they share equally in the result of that thing. So we should give whatever we have to Krishna. We should give whatever we have to other personalities. We should give our life. There's a nice story in this regard. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had one disciple whose name was Ramdas. He was a very simple devotee. When we think about giving things, generally we think about very wealthy persons, very, very powerful persons. We may think of the Dichi Muni. But the special quality is not in exactly what they give, but it's the devotion that they're giving, and it's in the act of giving. And we see in the case of this disciple, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, whose name was Ramdas, everyone called him Ramdas Prabhu. It's a very, very simple devotee. He didn't know how to read. He couldn't write his own name. But he was very, very dedicated to his Guru Maharaj. He was staying at the Chaitanya Mat in Mayapur, where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Samadhi is today. And he was engaged in very, very menial tasks, like taking care of the fields, sweeping the paths, and taking out the garbage, and like that. Just like we heard one story, one young man went to the temple in San Francisco many years ago, and he was taking prasadam there. And someone asked him, would you like to do some service? He said, well, yeah. What can I do? And he said, you go help him. And they pointed at some fellow who didn't look like a devotee. He was dressed in old, dirty jeans and like that. And he went over to that man, and that man told him, I'm the garbage man here. And he spent the whole day with him, taking out the garbage to the dump and doing things. And that garbage man was so ecstatic that that young man thought, damn, if the garbage man is as happy, and he's a Hare, I want to be a Hare Krishna devotee also. Later came to find out the garbage man was actually the temple president, and his name was Jayananda Prabhu. And that young man was my first temple president, Vatsal Prabhu. He later got initiated by Srila Prabhupada. So Ramdas Prabhu was a very simple devotee. He was also the garbage man, a very exalted service in the Chaitanya Mat. And a very, very simple devotee. He received Harinam initiation. But interestingly, in the Gaudiya Mat, he didn't receive Diksha. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur didn't give Diksha to everyone. He said it's not necessary. That Diksha is especially there for people to worship the deity. And not everyone got Diksha. And he said for him, Harinam initiation is sufficient. That he's going to achieve everything by Harinam, by chanting, and by doing Dham Seva. And there was another devotee in that Mat. It was a very big Mat. There were maybe 300-400 devotees there. And his name was Bhagavat Maharaj, and he was a sannyasi. And in his household life, before he joined, he was a mere physician, like the Ashvini Kumaras. He was a doctor. And although he was a very learned person, he didn't know so much Shastra in that. So he was impressed by hearing the Shastric erudition of some of his godbrothers. So he approached Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and he said, asked his Guru Maharaj, please could, because in the Gaudiya Math at that time, they weren't emphasizing so much Shastra. Rather, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was emphasizing hearing. And the devotees generally weren't reading so much. And some of the disciples, there's one, I can't remember his name. He left his body some years ago. We had the good fortune to meet him a few times. He lived in Cuttack and Orissa. And anyway, Bhakti Vikashmar's got a lot of it, not Dogovinda Shastri, but another devotee. Anyway, he was mentioning how he got a Bhakti Shastri degree from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, which means you know Bhagavad Gita. And he said, but he'd never read Bhagavad Gita or Ishopanishad. But because of his dedication and because of his erudition and hearing from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he got that degree. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta actually didn't encourage so much the devotees to read. But this devotee, this sannyasi, Bhagavat Maharaj, he had some desire to become more learned. And so he approached his Guru Maharaj, please can I hire some Pandit, some Sanskrit Pandit to teach me Shastra? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he told him that you should go to Ramdas Prabhu. There's one devotee here named Ramdas, and he can teach you Shastra. Okay, I don't know who's this Ramdas, so he asked around because he didn't know Ramdas. And someone told him, oh, he's over there, and he found Ramdas in the garden cutting banana leaves for plates for the devotees. That was his service, very simple thing. And he was a little puzzled. He doesn't look like a pundit to me. He looks like a very simple person. And so he came, Guru Maharaj told me that I should approach you to please teach me about Shastra. When Ramdas heard that, he became even more confused than Bhagavat Maharaj. He said, I think you got the wrong guy. I don't even know how to write my name. I don't know any Shastra or anything. I can't teach you anything. So this sannyasi, he returned to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He said, Guru Maharaj, maybe he gave me the wrong name. Is this somebody else? He told me to go to this Ramdas and learn from him. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, this is the person I wanted you to learn from. So he became very confused. Did I do something wrong? Is he trying to chastise me? Why is he telling me to go and learn from this guy who's cutting banana leaves? That's all he knows how to do. But he thought, Guru Maharaj told me, so I should go to him. And so he went back to Ramdas, and he very humbly asked him, please, Guru Maharaj told me that I should approach you to learn Shastra. And Ramdas is saying, no, who am I? I don't know anything. No, Guru Maharaj said. And again, he kept requesting him. And finally, Ramdas, he told him, he said that in a very simple way, he said, I don't know so much. All that I try to do, I try to produce flowers and fruits to offer to the Lord. And by doing so, I feel, by growing these flowers and things and offering them to the Lord, I feel always inspired to chant the holy names. And I consider this to be the success of my life. And so, this Bhagavat Maharaj was very impressed by the potency of the words of Ramdas, and returned to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and reported what he had said to him. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta told him, so this is the principle of Seva Mukhi Jivado. Because otherwise the Padma Purana says, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Graham Indriya. You can't understand Shastra. You can't understand Krishna. You can't understand the holy name with your indriya, with your senses. But Sevan Mukhi Jivado. When we engage in service to Guru, then understanding comes. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he quoted this verse from the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, which Krishna spoke to the cowherd boys at the Etavaj Jamasafal Yam Dehinam Iadehasu Pranay Artar Deya Vachashreya Archanam Sada. That to sacrifice your life, your intelligence, your speech, and everything for other people, that's the highest conduct for persons in this world. And if one wants success, they should behave in this way. They should give everything that they have. So in this regard, there's a nice verse in the Mangalacharna written by Srila Nayananda Thakur in the beginning of his book. What was that book? Krishna Rasa Bhakti Kadamba. I can sing this and you can chant Hare Krishna in response. Guru Gati, Guru Mati, Guru Satya, Guru Pati, Guru Bandhu Bandhava Swajan. Double time. Hello. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Guru Pitta, Guru Mata, Guru Bhakti Pata Datta, Guru Sarva Siddhira Karan. Bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. He said, my Gurudev is everything. Guru Gati, my Gurudev, he's the goal of my life. Guru Mati, Gurudev is the only thing I need for my consciousness. Is the only thing I need to think about. Guru Satya, my Gurudev is eternal truth. Guru Pati, Gurudev is my master. Guru Bandhu, Bandhava Swajan. Gurudev, he's my real friend. He's my real relative. He's my real swajana. Guru Pitta, Gurudev is my father. Because father is that person who impregnates the mother. And Gurudev, he's my father. He's my mother. He's given birth to me. I'm known as Dvija. I'm Dui Janma. I have second birth because he's given me birth. He's my father. The father feeds me. The father discharges semen in the wife and gives birth to the child. Gurudev is Guru Bhakti Patta Datta. Gurudev, he's all these things because Gurudev gives me the path of bhakti. And he says that Guru Sarva Siddhira Karan. That Gurudev, he's the source of all perfection. Gurudev is everything. My Guru Maharaj, he once told a story in Gadaigiri. For those of you who may have heard of Gadaigiri before, this is the deities of Shri Shri Radha Gopalji, who about 250, 300 years ago were being worshipped in Vrindavan, and they decided they wanted to go to Orissa to be worshipped by one devotee named Gopal Giri. And they came, and those deities have been there for a long, long time in the family of our Guru Maharaj. He said that Gopal came to Orissa not because he wanted to eat food, but because he's Kirtan Priya. He likes Kirtan very, very much. And the Giri family were famous Kirtaniyas all over Orissa. So anyway, Gopal came, and he was worshipping their family for a long time. And after some years, our Guru Maharaj had met Srila Prabhupada. He took initiation, and Prabhupada put him in charge of the activities, preaching activities in Orissa. But Guru Maharaj was always remembering Gopal. And the deities were in the name of Ganesham Giri Prabhu, his older cousin brother. And Guru Maharaj was preaching to him and finally convinced him that you should donate the deities and the temple. But their temple was, it would fit inside of this room. It was a small little mud hut. And he decided then we're going to build a very wonderful temple for Gopal. Maybe there's a nice story behind that. Maybe we'll tell that sometime. So they had many construction workers that came, and they were working on the temple. And Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he called one day for all the construction workers, and he told them a story. He said, you should understand that what you're doing is a very special act by helping to construct this temple. And he told a story about Agastya Muni, who previously, with the help of Bhrigu Muni and Bharadwaj, they built a temple for Krishna in a place known as Kalahasti in Rajasthan. And he said that every day they would pay the workers. What would they pay them? They would give them sand. That doesn't sound very attractive, to give someone sand. But according to the quality of the person's work, if they were very sincere in their work, that sand turned to gold. Or maybe if they weren't working so hard, maybe half the sand would turn to gold. Or if maybe they were just sleeping during the day and not working very much at all, the sand would just remain sand. And so he said, in this way, you have such a great opportunity. You can do this service to build this temple. And if you do it with great sincerity, you'll get gold. Not in the form of money, but in the form of prem bhakti, by building this temple for Gopal. But if you're lazy, if you're lackadaisical in what you do, then you won't get a proper result, and all that you'll get is sand. In a similar way, when we serve Gurudev, we should not think that the only function of Guru is a ironic statement in Oriya. They say, Kona Funka Guru. Kona Funka means to spit, and Kona means the ear. It's not that Gurudev is just someone who comes and who spits in your ear. Or as our Guru Maharaj would say, he's not just mantra datta Guru. He's not just someone who's giving mantra, but he's ashraya datta. He's giving us shelter. And we should understand we have a debt to such a personality. The Dichi Muni is ready to give everything. Gurudev is ready to give us everything. But when someone gives us such a thing as the Dichi Muni is giving, we have a debt to that person. In the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 22, there's a very wonderful verse. Ya idrisi bhagavato gatir atmavada ekantato nigamabi pratipaditana tusyanta dabra karuna swarikritena nityam ko nama tat pratikaroti vinoda patram. Srila Prabhupada translates this verse. Prithu Maharaj said, how can such persons who have rendered unlimited service, like the Dichi Muni, who have rendered unlimited service by explaining the path of self-realization in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whose explanations are given for our enlightenment with complete conviction and Vedic evidence, how can such persons be repaid except by folded palms containing water for their satisfaction? Such great personalities can be satisfied only by their own activities, which are distributed amongst human society out of their unlimited mercy. Srila Prabhupada, I'll read you a few words from his purport, a very wonderful purport. He says that knowledge of Krishna is such a great gift that it's impossible to repay the benefactor. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj requested the Kumaras to be satisfied by their own benevolent activities in delivering souls from the clutches of Maya. The king saw that there was no other way to satisfy them for their exalted activities. The word vinodapatram can be divided into two words, vina and udapatram, or can be understood as one word, vinodapatram. As one word, vinodapatram means someone who's a joker, who's saying some ridiculous thing. A joker's activities simply arouse laughter. And a person who tries to repay the spiritual master or teacher of the transcendental message of Krishna becomes a laughing stock, like a joker. Because it's not possible to repay such a debt. All that we can do is give our body. And if you can't give your body, then you give your wealth. If you can't give your wealth in Diya, you give your intelligence. And if you can't even give that, at least give our vacha. At least give our words. Prabhupada says, because it's not possible to repay such a debt, the best friend and benefactor of all people is one who awakens humanity to its original Krishna consciousness. Srila Sridhar Swami in his Bhavarta Dipika commentary, which by the way was written in Orissa, he comments, Satyapi svatvi sarva svenapi na guru pratyupakartum sakyam ityaha yar itti. Even by offering everything you have, Everything that you have, you can't repay the Guru. It's not enough. And if someone thinks that they can, then they're just Vinoda Patram. They're just a joker. This is a principle of bhakti. There's a very nice word in this regard, kritagya. Krita means to do something, and gya, in Orissa and Oriya language, is a phrase. If someone tells someone something, they'll say agya, which means your order. Gya, agya means the order. And gya means also, it indicates knowledge. Someone gives us an order, gives us some instruction, some knowledge. Then what should our behavior be? We should follow that, krita. And if we do that, by doing that, the two become one word, kritagya, which means to be appreciative, to be grateful. And there's another word, kritagna. If you're not grateful, then such a person is kritagna. Kritagna means an ungrateful person. Kritagna also means someone who kills themselves. Should I stop now? Okay, finish our point. I'm sorry. Kritagna means someone who's killing themselves, someone who doesn't have gratitude. So this is a point we can understand from this verse and purport that Gurudev gives us everything. This is the Dichi Muni. He's willing to cut off his head, let his head be cut off. He's willing to give his bones to the demigods. And this should be our activity. Whatever we have, it's not enough to repay Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada came, he gave us everything. If Srila Prabhupada hadn't have come, what would happen to all of us? We would just be engaged in intoxication, and we'd be lost souls on our way to hell. He gave us so very, very much. How can we repay such a thing? You can't. It's not possible. If you think you can repay it, you're just a joker. So Vinoda Patram has two meanings. One is you're a joker, but the other is Udara Patram, with hands of water. We offer water. What do you mean offer water? If your life is not enough and your wealth is not enough, water is good enough? There's a purport to it. When we worship the Ganga, how do we worship Ganga Devi? We worship Ganga Devi with Ganga Jal, with water we've gotten from the river. We worship Surya Dev, the sun, with a ghee lamp, with flame. And similarly, we worship Gurudev with the things he's given us. Srila Prabhupada came and he gave his life to give people Krishna consciousness. How can we repay it? We can't. If you think you can repay it, even with your body, as Dadichi Muni giving up his body, you're just Vinoda Patram, you're a joker. But what we can do is using the same things that Srila Prabhupada has given us, that Krishna consciousness, we can also offer that to other people. And that's Vinoda Patram, that's a proper disciple. So I think we should stop there. I was hoping there'd be time for some reflections or comments, but it's not possible. I don't know anything, I'm just a guest, so. Whatever is appropriate. We should stop now? Okay. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhaktabinda ki, Gaur Premanande, Vanchakalpadarubhischa, Kripasindubhyeva cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavabinda ki.
Hare